So it's time to put in the side windows. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but we'll get there. Welcome back, guys and girls, to another episode of Dad's Toy Garage. Which car do you think we're working on today? Well, it's not this one, not this time. We're on this guy here, and we have two goals. Get the side glass in, rebuild the regulators, that's two, and if there's time, the third thing I want to get done is get some door panels in. So let's get right into this, let's have some fun, let's get her done, and it'll be one step closer to having an almost complete interior. You need something to have the side glass seal, because I want to put the side glass in shortly. So I'll knock one piece of this down at a time, and we got a bunch of moldings here. So I've polished up a bunch of trim pieces here. I'll show you where they're going to go in a second. We've got Weatherstrip here and here. I ordered them out of Thailand. They came with that big order we had a couple episodes back. And we got the right hand. And we got the left hand. So if we go in the car here, assembled, all these parts make this seal in here, and the stainless trim. I thought it was stainless, but I think it's actually aluminum. It polished up super easy. So we got that. Now I want to install the other side. Here's the first molding on. That's the part that goes first. Next we'll get this part of the drip molding. It's got to get a bit of sealant here and sealant down there. So this piece here, it's a strip that will hold in the rubber. It's screwed in place, and I put sealant all along the back side of it. So it should be good. If we got leaks, then we got a different issue, but we'll check that later. So rubber Weatherstrip is in, and it fits really nice. If you pull on there, it's really snug. I'm curious to see how it's going to do once the glass is in there, how well it will seal, but it looks just like the original piece. So we've got the Weatherstrip in the car to seal the top of the glass. Right here, you probably won't see it. I've got the glass, or not very well since it's clear. I've polished up the glass with some steel wool. And while there's maggot aluminum polish, there's a bit of overspray just from priming in the shop here. A little bit of it was uncovered. Plus, it's good to have her polished up. So it's time to put in the side windows. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but we'll get there. All the window regulators and such are in this box. And from Thailand, I've ordered 2 kits to rebuild the window regulator mechanisms. So front 2 windows and then the back 2 quarter windows. So I'm rebuilding the passenger side window regulator. So we got one new piece here, and one here, and one here. So 1, 2, 3, and it kind of just sandwiches in there. There's the blue washer looking piece, and then I got the spring, the bolt, the washer, and the blue piece, and it just kind of slides in there. I'll have to grease this thing up yet. Once I'm ready to put in the door, we'll put the grease on. In the window rebuild kit, or I had to order these separate, but it all came in the same package. These are, I believe, sliders, new ones I've put in there. Here's the old ones. You just kind of tap them out with a flathead screwdriver, and they're just pressure fit. Alright, so I think I got it figured out. We got 2 tracks like this. I've labeled them from 5 years ago, or 6, whatever it was when I took it apart. But basically, these red bushings we put in there, they are the sliders. Let's make sure we got the right one here. driver's side door, rear. So that's perfect. So they're going to slide up and down like this. One here on the outsides of the window. Here's I think what you call a regulator. Opens up. It's going to bolt here. So when you turn this handle, this guy's going to go up and down like this. So I've cleaned all the tracks with steel wool, got the crud out of there. I'm going to grease them up. We're going to put them in, and I think the window gets bolted to this at the very end after you've got all the mechanisms in. We'll get all the windows in and then we'll adjust them after that. So I've got the window kit installed for rebuilding the window mechanisms, all the bushings and stuff from Thailand. There's one part that it does not include, and he's waiting on a nice part to pattern off of. And I'll show you guys right away what I'm talking about here. So for on the glass, the front glass, they each have a bushing that goes here. Mine's really easy to install and uninstall. That goes there. So for my Miata, I've ordered these and I never did the other side. So I ordered one more set, so when I get to the other side, I did the driver window but not the passenger window of these bushings. It is almost identical. Where it differs is, I mean, this is the same, this internal hole, same diameter. The roller part is the same. Where it differs in is height. You can kind of see there, two different heights. And right here, I need to drill this out a little bit to get it to this depth. But this is Delrin, so it should last a long time. It should be really durable. I'm going to modify this. We're going to modify a pair of them. And we're going to make them work on that stud. I had to destroy this drill bit. I kind of made it flat on this end, but the whole reason for that is it allowed me to deepen this here and keep it flat on the inside, so that the original one here and this one are the same depth. I also was able to cut it down to much shorter height. So now we have these two bushings that are exactly the same. So yes, you can use a Mazda Miata bushing in your car with a little bit of work. That worked very nicely. The only thing I do is secure it now, and that'll probably be with a bit of a tack weld on the back, going slow. Got to keep it cool enough that we don't melt this bushing. So right here, I've ground it clean, and my plan is just 2 tack welds on here. I've got snow. We're going to hold it up underneath here, keep it cool while we're welding. That's the plan. And I like to use the snow while we got it because it cools it fast. Here's the roller. It still rolls. So the first thing I'm going to do is set the angle, which is these guys here. So I get it up to close where it needs to be, and I've got it perfectly gapped now, and you can see that here. But initially it was a bit low here and too far, which made it too far forward there when it was in the right up position. So we adjusted the angle here to this point. And I want to say also, like, if all you're doing is changing a regulator, mark these things beforehand, but as you can tell, the whole thing has been painted, so I'm starting fresh. So then we get our height, or we get our angle right. We got to adjust the height, which is like the height stops. So basically these are loose, and I got this one and that one, and you get this right on the top of the window. When you're happy with that, you open the door, you slide these down, and you lock them in. As you can see here, this guy's still loose, so I just push them down to its lowest position. It'll go. It's locked in. So I'm working on the back glass here. If you look at this weather strip, it's completely hammered out. I believe it just pulls right out. I'm not sure what keeps it back in place, but there's the old one. Here's a brand new one out of Thailand. It appears you just gotta slide it in there. Okay, that's what keeps it in there. It's just tight. The old one was not. So here's the new weather strip in place, and I found out what actually keeps it in there. Right there's a screw. So I'm gonna take that out, put it down, and screw it in place. New weather strip, and then we got a rebuild kit to rebuild the rollers and stuff in here. So this was the better glass of the two, and this one was also missing this piece. So I've cleaned it up. I'm gonna reattach it with some of this I picked up at the local glass shop, and there's just a little bit left in there, so they gave it to me no charge, so that worked out good. I just need enough to run a small bead on here, then we'll tape it down, and then I can mount the weather strip in here tomorrow once it's dry. So I've taped up this edge here, and kind of like this. That way I don't get sealant or urethane on the glass where I don't need it. I take it off after. So crossing my fingers we got enough here. I think we'll just try and run a bead along the edge of this. Now I take this guy here, slide it on. So I'm thinking it's pretty important at this stage to get all the excess off, or it's not going to come off later. Take a razor where the excess is. This window is now clean as I can get it, because once it's sat for a while, that urethane is not coming off very nicely. And I'm thinking that'll hold this on very nicely. It's taped. I'm going to let it sit overnight before we do anything more with it. And I'm pretty happy with this if it works. So all these parts make up the rear window regulator rebuild kit for the left and right windows on the quarter windows. So I'm going to install that, show you guys where all those bushings go. So just to describe where this piece goes, right here, these three are where the glass bolts to. Here and here are supposed to have these pieces. They're missing altogether, just told they shot. Here's the brand new rollers installed. You can see how they go in there. And the washer I did on the back side, when they're snugged up tight, they still roll. And I've also added red Loctite, strong stuff, to these. I don't want them coming loose when they're in there. The other ones were actually just crimped in place, kind of like that. And I'm not sure I want to change out this one yet because it is spring loaded, but I'm guessing that's what the third one is for. It's still there. It's lasted all this time. I think we're going to leave it in there for now. So I got the back window fitted, and I was struggling with it binding, going up and down. It would get to about here, and then the whole thing would just stop and just stop against there. The rubber was too grippy. But now it goes all the way up. And I talked to Tony and said, like, do you have any ideas? Grease. I got this spray can of white lithium grease, put it on a microfiber rag, rubbed it on there, onto the rubber, and it works. So we got this window in. Now it fits really well. I'm happy with it. So the window's in. I'm not really going to show you guys how I installed it. There's tutorials online. Plus, it's a long process just getting it right. Lots of trial and error. Some stuff had to come in and out a couple times. But I'll show you the fastening points and we'll go from there. So your crank is mounted here, the part that has the gears. And that pins to right here on the swing arm. Glass comes in through the top. So there's one track that runs here, and you can adjust it forwards and backwards on that point. And this is your pivot point here. I'm not sure what else to call it, but the swing arm mounts off of here. And then here's your back slider track is this one and this one. So it's in there, it's done. So right along here, I'm having a hard time getting the glass to seal up with adjustment like in here. I've started to figure it out over here, but if you go further along, let's see. Right here, see that, guys? It's not even touching. The solution is to take, for me at this point, just a screwdriver with a flat blade, hammer on the end of it, and I'm just putting the screwdriver right in here on this metal molding that holds the rubber, and slowly tapping it gently in along, and it pushes the rubber just tight enough to get a seal. There's a point where if I adjusted it enough to pull the window in, it would actually roll up on the other side of this rubber. So my thought is we gotta just bend this, put a little bit of tension on the rubber here, and that's what hitting this molding does. So I'm gonna get that done. So you can see here where I've bent the molding in, it's pushing it against there. And here where it needs to be bent in, as you do, it kind of pushes that rubber like that. So I guess you could technically put something in between the rubber and there, but this way the rubber can still be removable. I thought it initially was some urethane, but I wanted to still have the function of factory. So there the windows are, guys, installed. Nice fit here. Alright guys, I'm running into an issue. I got this window in here now, but we got so much play. I'm thinking that regulator mechanism inside here is about that close to not working at all. And there are two different guys on YouTube with these cars. They have done the repair on these cars using these little mechanisms in here. From different Toyota models, and the one guy used a 2005 RAV4 manual window crank, so I've ordered those from Rock Auto. The whole regulator assembly is what you got to order. Let's see if we can get this to work better, and then we'll be good to go. I don't really want to pull it apart within a year of installing it all, so when those parts get here, I will show you exactly how to do that.